Greetings, my name is Alex Rodriguez, and today I'll be presenting on Chapter 5 of Preparing Effective Business Plans, which would be the industry analysis. An industry is a group of firms offering similar products or services. Here is a short clip breaking down the 3 types of industries.
We'll go through the 3 main types of industries and also the sometimes ignored 4th type. Primary industries are those involved in the extraction and production of raw materials. These industries are the foundation of all other industries. For example, primary industries include agriculture, fishing, mining, forestry. The easiest way to remember this is that primary industries are those that take things from the earth. Secondary industries involve the manufacture and processing of raw materials. These industries take the raw materials produced by the primary industry and transform them into finished goods. For example, a car factory takes the primary resource of metal and rubber and turns it into the finished product of a car. Tertiary industries involve the provision of services. These industries are not producing goods, but provide various services that are essential to other industries and consumers. For example, tertiary industries include transportation, healthcare, education, finance. The easiest way to distinguish between a good and a service is that goods are physical products you can touch, whereas services are things that are done that you cannot physically touch. For example, you cannot touch education or accountancy, but you can touch a table or a pencil or a car. Some textbooks might overlook quaternary industries, but I think they are a vital part in today's world. Quaternary industries are knowledge-based industries that involve research and development. These industries focus on creating new ideas, technologies, and knowledge. For example, quaternary industries include software development, biotechnology, telecommunications, and aerospace. These industries are high risk, high reward. What separates it from other industries is that you could invest millions of dollars and get nothing, or something that's completely different from what you intended. For example, space research gave us Velcro shoes and Teflon-coated pans. Here is a quick test to see if you can identify the different types of industry. What is this industry? Secondary. What is this industry? Tertiary. And this one? Yes, you guessed it, quaternary. And finally we have, yes, primary. Thank you.
All right, now that we have a better understanding of what an industry is, we are able to create our industry analysis. An industry analysis allows you to see a company's potential for success. It is important in a business plan because it helps companies understand the broader environment before narrowing focus on target markets. The industry analysis also provides context on industry trends that could directly affect a business strategy. So for example, in the book that we read, the example that they used were if you have demographic shifts. So are older people now more interested in exercise and in fitness? And if you were a new business owner in the fitness industry, should you focus on an older demographic as your target audience? Why would you focus on that demographic? So an industry analysis should appear early on in a business plan because it logically precedes the analysis of the target market and market strategy. What are the purposes of an industry analysis? So its position in the business plan, which, like I said, it will inform other parts of your business plan, but it also supports your planning. This analysis provides foundational data for financial forecast, target market focus, and operational planning. Now, I also included some questions that you should be asking yourself when you're looking at the overall industry that you're hoping to get into. Now let's talk about how you're going to structure your industry analysis for your business plan. You're going to begin by including a brief description on the chosen industry, including NAICS codes. This video explains exactly what NAICS are.
And SIC codes are used to classify businesses for the purpose of collecting, analyzing, and publishing statistical data related to the U.S. business economy. Knowing these classification systems and how they work can lead you more easily and quickly to the specific industry information that you're looking for. The most prevalent industry classification system used today is the North American Industry Classification System, or NAICS, pronounced like snakes. This system was developed jointly by the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in order to statistically compare business activities across North America. NAICS codes are revised and updated periodically and replace the standard industrial classification system when the older SIC codes could no longer accommodate new and emerging industries. Although the SIC system was last revised in 1987, the codes are still used today and can be very helpful. As a business student, it's important to become familiar with both classification systems because companies often use both codes to describe their operations.
So it's important to choose a clear, narrow definition that aligns with your company's focus. So for example, when we think of JetBlue, JetBlue is an airline, not a transportation industry. Although it is a mode of transport, the category, the clear, narrow category that it would fit into is the airline industry. So if your business spans multiple industries, you have to analyze each relevant industry and see where your business would fit in. However, this is not recommended for first-time business owners. It's better to niche it down, find yourself in one industry with a core target audience, and expand later. Next, you want to look at the industry size, which you can show through figures of industry revenue across several years, offering a trend view. This is typically done within a 3 to 5 year basis. You also want to look at the growth rate, which is reported in percentages, again, over a 3 to 5 year basis, often compared to similar industries. So does it even make sense to try and join the specific industry that you're trying to join? Have other businesses managed to be successful? What is the growth rate of these other businesses, or are they stagnant? You also want to look at sales projections, which would include future sales data, and sources like IBIS World and Standard & Poor's can be very useful. However, most readers of your plan are more interested in what you think and how you interpret the data, because we have to remember that any sales projections is basically an educated estimate based on data gathered. It's not fact. So in order to justify this estimation, you have to be able to give your opinions. Additionally, if relevant, you can include specific data on regional performance or growth hotspots to show the potential of your business. So if you are, as we are, people that are living in Jamaica, hoping to have businesses that are based in Jamaica, we want to show what it is about Jamaica or the region that we are in Jamaica, or what it is about the Caribbean that would make our business viable. After that, you're going to unpack the structure of the industry and lay out the competitive landscape. This can be categorized into 4 main sections. 1, the structure of the industry. So concentrated industries have a few dominant players, while fragmented industries have many small players. An industry is typically fragmented if the emergent stage of its life cycle and or the cost of entry is relatively low. Some argue that high barriers to entry are ideal as they reduce the competition, but as a startup owner, that becomes kind of tricky for you because where are you going to get that initial capital to start your business? Second, you're going to look at the nature of the participants. You want to define key competitors and their market shares. You want to draw a mental map for your reader that shows exactly where your firm will fit into the industry. This ties back into what I was talking about earlier of trying to kind of niche it down and see where you can fit, or what are the gaps in the industry right now that your business would be filling. Industries can be segmented by product type, customer type, for example. The best approach is to segment your industry by your point of entry. So for example, I will be looking to start, if I was looking to start an airline company, I could say my entry point would be affordable flights within the Caribbean, for example, at an affordable rate, flights that connect within the Caribbean instead of having to go to Florida or South America in order to get somewhere else. The third thing you want to look at is key ratios. So you're going to report the industry's key financial ratios and other ratios of interest. This provides more insight into the structure and attractiveness of an industry. An example of a key ratio would be, again, looking back at my potential airline business, what are the hotspots in the year? Or other key ratios are the turnover time for employees, or how many flights go out how many flights my company does in comparison to how much money we're getting back. Because remember, it's supposed to be a discount airline. I think those can be pretty good examples of key ratios. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The fourth thing you want to look at is key success factors. So this looks at what a company in the industry has to do to be good at, or has to do in order to be successful. So key factors vary by industry, but most industries have 6 to 10 key factors. You want to try and differentiate yourself by excelling in at least 2 or 3 areas. It would be impossible for you to excel in 6 to 10 factors right off the bat. So for example, for my airline company, successful or key factors that I would think of in the airline industry would be snacks available in there. What is it called? Snacks available in flight, easy booking procedures, easy to, I'm so sorry. Check-in, that's it. Easy check-in or online check-in available, competitive rates for your luggage or for excess baggage. Things like that could be some key factors for success. How many Boeings I have, another key factor for success. Next, I want us to look at Porter's 5 forces in order to help us broaden our thinking when it comes to analyzing our company's industry.
In 1979, Michael Porter, one of the founding fathers of business strategy, published an article called How Competitive Forces Shape Strategy. In this article, he argued that we often view competition way too narrowly, and as a solution came up with 5 basic forces that together shape the industry structure and determine the competitive intensity of an industry. In the end, these forces affect the long-term profit potential in an industry and therefore its attractiveness. We will come back to that in a second. Because we're talking about competitive forces, the 5 forces model can be considered an external analysis framework, similar to PESTEL. However, as explained in my previous video on PESTEL analysis, it is important to make a distinction between the macro environment and the task environment, or meso environment. Do you remember how the macro environment contains factors that have a one-way effect on organizations? And the task environment, on the other hand, contains factors that are in a direct contact with the focal company. They interact with each other. Porter's 5 forces falls within this latter category and includes the following 5 forces: rivalry among existing competitors, threat of new entrants, the threat of substitute products or services, the bargaining power of suppliers, and the bargaining power of buyers. Before we go into each force separately, it is important to understand that the main purpose of this model is to evaluate the root causes of profitability in an industry through the competitive forces. Porter therefore draws a connection between competition on the one hand and profitability on the other hand. If competitive forces in an industry are high or intense, the profit potential of a firm in that specific industry will decrease. As you will be seeing in this video, each of the 5 forces are able to affect the profit potential in an industry both positively and negatively. We will be illustrating this dynamic relationship between competition and profitability throughout this video with some examples from the airline industry. Let's start off with the middle section of the framework. This force of the 5 forces model examines how intense the current competition is in the marketplace. This is, for example, determined by the number and size of existing competitors, the industry growth rate, product differentiation between rivals, and exit barriers. Rivalry is, for example, high when there are a lot of competitors that are roughly equal in size and power. When the industry is growing slowly, which increases the fight for market share, and when competitors are not much differentiated from each other, resulting in products and services that are nearly identical. In addition, rivalry will be more intense when barriers to exit are high, forcing companies to remain in the industry even though profit margins are declining. These barriers to exit can, for example, exist due to long-term loan agreements and high fixed costs. When rivalry is high, competitors are likely to actively engage in advertising and price wars, which can seriously hurt a business bottom line. Let's look at this more closely. If direct competitors fight for market share and decide to battle each other by dropping the prices, profit margin will decrease. Moreover, they might decide to spend more money on advertising, raising the costs and again decreasing the profit margin. When looking at the airline industry,
Right. So the last part of the industry analysis looks at industry trends. Industry trends reflect underlying forces affecting growth and competition, which is the foundation for a new business idea in any industry. The industry trends also provides the justifications for claims made early on in the industry analysis. So two major examples of industry trends would be environmental trends, which are those that shift in favor of or against the products or services sold by the firms in the industry, as well as business trends. The most important question you should be looking at or asking yourself when looking at industry trends is, are new markets for the industry's staple products opening up, or are existing markets being shut down by competing industries? Your industry analysis should conclude by stating your beliefs regarding the long-term prospects for your company's industry. This is where you summarize your finding and share your thoughts. No new ideas should be introduced at this point. You're going to use all the insights from the industry analysis to shape marketing, target audience, and competitive strategy. Thank you and good luck making your industry analysis for your business plan.